What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and I'm back with another double feature review. One I got an early screening to, the other one I got to check out in theaters. And I would have had the chance to kind of make two individual videos for these because there's so much to say about these two movies, but I am about to take a really big break. A lot of family is coming into town. We've got some very important things to take care of, and my schedule is just way too busy to get any of these done. So bear with me. We're going to be covering two movies in this one video. Now, the first movie that I want to talk to you about is one that I got an early screening to, which is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. As we follow a man from the future who arrives at a diner in Los Angeles and must recruit the precise combination of disgruntled patrons to join him on a one-night quest in order to save the world from a terminal threat of a rogue artificial intelligence. Now, I first heard about this movie by YouTuber slash film critic Cody Leach, who got to check this out in an early film festival called Fantastic Fest, and he really enjoyed it. So I was very curious at the time of what this was going to look like. And then when we got the trailer, I had totally forgot the little detail that filmmaker Gore Verbinski, who hasn't directed a movie in almost a decade, was going to make his return to the director's chair with this. I mean, he's the guy that brought us Rango, 2002's American iteration of The Ring, and the first three original Pirates of the Caribbean. It seemed like an interesting concept, especially when people were lining it up to be another, traditional film that was in the line of Terminator 2 or Groundhog Day. And it sounded like an insane and wacky adventure. And I didn't think that a movie like that would appeal to a director like Gore Verbinski, but if we have been proven anything in the past or on his line of filmography, this man has done it all. The best way for me to describe this movie is if Edgar Wright casted The Breakfast Club and directed them in a movie that was along the lines of Terminator 2 and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is that movie, and it was a complete blast from start to finish. With the subject of AI eventually bringing mankind to the brink of extinction, the satirical look at society and how just dependent and spoiled we are with technology, especially with our phones, was a terrifying reality to accept. What the script and the final product does so well is tackling these heavy subjects in an irreverent manner to the point where you find a nice little sweet spot to have a laugh. For example, school shootings. I know, it's dark and kind of fucked up to have that kind of subject in a movie, but for some reason and somehow they were able to ride that fine line between humorous and offensive. Sam Rockwell is magnetic and absolutely outrageous as our leading man from the future, and I gotta say, his monologue within the first 12 minutes really had me hooked. And while recruiting this unlikely ensemble for a perilous mission in order to save the world, we get to really just kind of cut back into various storylines as well as flesh out a lot of these characters with what's going on in their lives and how they ended up at this diner. While we focus on the more key players on the team, I would have to say that the subplots that involved Haley Lou Richardson's character or Juno Temple's character definitely rivaled the narrative of main characters with Sam Rockwell. And I'd have to say that as far as mixed negatives go, maybe it was the Cap Prompt Kaiju. That one was a little weird when it came to life. And the ending, I'm not sure how to feel about that one. Might have to sit with that one just a little bit longer. Overall, this is probably the most fun I've had with an end of the world type of movie since movies like Edgar Wright's At World's End or This Is the End. They all just have ends in it. But I would have to say, I did fortunately have the chance to screen this a little bit early. I honestly recommend skipping watching the trailer and going as blind as you can. Just go see it on the big screen with some friends. Have a good time. After watching this movie, I'm just looking at my phone a little bit differently now. But this is one of those movies with a reinvigorating concept that is loaded with high-stakes adventure and thrills, bonkers action, dark humor that hits, heart and spontaneity. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is entertainment gold. Now, the next and last movie that I want to talk to you guys about is The Strangers Chapter 3. Yeah. Randy Harlan's trilogy redux of The Strangers has finally come to an end with a supposed third and final chapter. I mean, when we started out this trilogy, I know that the creatives talked about wanting to explore the aftermath of a violent crime. What happens to victims after they survive such a vicious attack? While the trilogy has lightly addressed some of those topics, they somehow managed to make it all about the strangers and their origin story, which nobody asked for. So it stripped away a lot of their mystique, it stripped away everything that made them scary to begin with, and then they ushered in a lot of this motive and lore as we move on forward just to pad out a lot more fluff and justify 3 entries. Getting into my positives, there are none. Fuck this franchise. You know, I may not have been as frustrated watching this third movie as I was with the second entry, and that's because we were finally in uncharted territory. This is where the creatives wanted to get us to. This is what we've been building up to, and we've made it this far. I wanted to see how it ends. Well, shame on me, because time after time again, a lot of these characters continue to make decisions that either don't feel earned, that are incomprehensible, or fucking idiotic. For example, Maya, played by Madeline Petch, she hijacks a cop car full of gas, has a weapon in there, and she decides to speed off. Yay, good for her. She's finally there out of the woods, but it's a little too early. So what happens? While she's speeding down this dark and narrow road, she decides to look down at the same time and rustle through some police files, looks up after a few seconds, sees that she's about to run into another car in a head-on collision, and fucking swerves off. Plow right into a fucking tree. You want to talk about how Return to Silent Hill has too many flashbacks that halted its pacing? Well, this movie has it beat, because we are bombarded with many flashbacks of young versions of Scarecrow, Dollface, and Pinup Girl, to the point where it's blatantly ripping off Rob Zombie's Halloween, because we go from them as children to tweens, stalking and killing people, and it's just so laughable, because they're walking around with their whole demeanor like, I'm evil because I am. Even when we get to a point in the story where Scarecrow is trying to indoctrinate Maya as one of their own to fill in the shoes of Dollface, it just felt like such a fickle idea that the filmmakers could not commit to. We don't know what's going on because the filmmakers don't. I mean, we don't know whether that Scarecrow genuinely wanted to just liberate Maya from her pain and have her join in on, the madness that they think is liberating for them, or is he doing this out of revenge? Is he just trying to, implicate her in a lot of the criminality that they've been involved with? Or is Maya finally snapped? Is she finally gone mad and just not care and wants to become a killer? There's just long stretches of movie where there is just no dialogue. They are emoting as much as they can through the masks, and it's maddening because you have all these questions of a lot of the decisions that they're doing, and none of it feels like it has an agenda. None of it feels like it's working towards anything or kind of, fleshing out some sort of arc that needs to be complete for a final chapter. Overall, I really got a kick out of my entire auditorium just erupting into laughter after they tried to pull this out-of-pocket romance between Maya and Scarecrow, almost kind of like Kylo Ren and Rey in The Rise of Skywalker. Your soul is as dark and lonely as I am, type of shit. And there were a few more frames of splatter when it came to the violence, but other than that, it is still watered down. It is still off screen, which made a lot of the final confrontation just more underwhelming. Goodness gracious, I don't ever want to see another Strangers movie while I'm still alive. Again, I saw this movie, so you don't have to. Easily one of the worst movies of 2026. Well, alright guys, that's all I got to share about those movies. Go ahead and check them out if you want to. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is releasing in cinemas on February 13th. The Strangers Chapter 3 is now playing in theaters, and I'm pretty sure it's not too far from being on VOD pretty soon. Look forward to more reviews. I'm Jaren Ugbanawag, and I want to thank you guys again for taking some time out of your day to hear me talk some movies. I'll see you guys at the theater. In the meanwhile, take care.